Anton Weber here with Norton Yachts in Deltaville, Virginia, finally back from Fort Lauderdale and Annapolis in France for the dealer meeting, and really excited to be on board the 2025 Jeanneau 440. This is a boat we have here that is ready to go. You can see there's already canvas on the boat, and we've got everything set up down below. We're going to take a detailed look at this boat. This boat is a true owner's boat. It's a 2-cabin, 2-head, gray cedar with a garage back here. And if you're looking for a boat where you can go and do some exploring, this is a great boat to do it. This boat is perfectly suited for spending your time between the Bahamas and Maine every single year. But if you do get stuck where it's hot or where it's cold, you've also got a generator, you've got air conditioning, you've got heat as well on the boat, and you have basically everything you need to survive winter or summer wherever you happen to be. So let's take a closer look at the boat. All right, so here we are at the back of the boat, and we wanted to just do a very thorough walkthrough on all of the features of the boat. Right here, what we have is a compartment that is either for a generator, and this boat, it has a generator on board, which is, I believe it's a 9-kilowatt Onan generator. And if this is not in this space, then this becomes additional storage, and it's a tremendous amount of storage on the boat. So walking over here, we've got a transom shower, hot and cold running water at the back of the boat if you'd like to take a shower. Right here, we have your propane locker. And we usually put as big of a fiberglass tank as we can get in here. I believe on this boat we can get a 16-pound fiberglass propane tank in the boat. And as well, we've got your emergency bilge pump, your diesel fill, and your emergency tiller right there. There's one on the opposite side as well. We have an additional Axiom Pro chart plotter that works whether it's a hybrid touch, so you can either use the buttons here or you can touch the screen. You can also lock that if it's particularly nasty weather. Carbonautica composite wheels, and we have got electric winches on both sides of the boat. Makes tacking the boat incredibly easy. So both of your jib sheet and your main sheet are actually led to right here. And you have this great space to be able to sail the boat, whether you're on port or starboard tack, you can run either winch. At the top or the back of the cockpit table, we've got your compass, we've got an I-70 repeater, and your autopilot control head right here, as well as lights for your table and your floor lighting, which actually goes around both sides. And there's an option for cockpit where if you want to tie in some lighting up on the canvas here, you can do so. And then you have your up and down buttons for your platform. There's an electric arm that runs that because it is a beast. It is a very heavy platform. Otherwise, you've got a 12-volt charger right there. And then moving over, we've got this, as I said, the same electric winch setup for both of your primaries. Makes it incredibly easy to run this boat. Here at the starboard helm, which is where you run everything, you have, again, Carbonautica composite wheel. You've got your bow thruster right down here, your quick chain counter and controller for your windlass, remote control for your windlass. Right here, you've got your plug-in for your remote VHF and another hybrid touch over here, and your throttle controls. Everything's very convenient when you're running the boat from the starboard helm position. Another big chunk of storage right here in this lazarette. Most people put their dock lines or their fenders in here, and sort of a unique feature. You've got the ability to take this platform and put it out, and there's a cushion that goes on here, and that actually happens seamlessly when you do the motion of putting it out here. The cushion actually lays flat on top of it. You have this tremendous space right here to lounge when you're at anchor. There's an additional piece that goes in and actually fills this space right here, which we'll see in just a moment, that you have an additional cushion here. So this entire side of the boat becomes a cushion for you to lay, lounge, read a book, whatever it is that you like. Right here, we've got a wet locker, and that is that piece that goes into this space. So it fills this space entirely. It's very, very safe and secure. In the cockpit table itself, you've got a piece back here to hold bottles, 12-volt plug. And then forward, you have an incredibly large chunk of storage right here. This is, if you don't have the 2-cabin, 2-head workshop version, then this is actually a dry locker, and there's a floor in it when you open it up. This one is going to go straight into the workshop. I call it a garage. They call it a workshop. So there you have it. There's a lot of stuff stored on this boat. Still in brand new in the packaging. Walking forward, you've got, I have this discussion a lot in regard to this turning block. You can turn this into a winch if you like. This is an option to have a winch here. But most of the time, what you're dealing with is a couple of lines that you hardly ever touch. Stuff like your outhaul, or your outhaul, your topping lift, maybe a tack line if you're running a code 0, something like that. So it's a line that you don't use very much. And the reality is, if you do put a winch here, you're going to turn around this winch and come over here to this electric winch on this side. So that turning block works perfectly well to just come around here and drive whatever you need of those lines on this winch. So anyways, we are pretty much done with the back of the boat here. You can obviously see that this boat has beautiful canvas done by Signature Canvas out of Hampton, and they have won awards for the way that this canvas works. It is spectacularly well thought out for the walk around series. So we're going to go down below and take a look down below. So we've transitioned to the interior of the boat, and what we're going to do is we're going to walk through this boat in detail from the back to the front, and we're going to start with the aft cabins, and we're going to go through all of the storage features on the boat and show you a lot of things. One thing I will tell you about in this little piece is what I love about the interior of the boat is how much light gets into this boat. So one of the key elements of the design was getting rid of the overhead cabinets, which makes it appear much lighter and much more open in the boat. You're not enclosed in, and that storage is made up for in other places. So I'm looking forward to showing you those pieces, but let's start at the back of the boat. What we've got back here is the garage, and down here you have got all of your DC breakers, as well as your fuses for your windlass, your winches, and various pieces right there. In the back, you have got all of your 110 breakers for your shore power, as well as your charger and your, which you can't actually see from here, but right about there is your GFCI is right there. Obviously, we're in the middle of commissioning this boat, so we have a lot of stuff still in the boxes and ready to go. So in here, we have optioned this with a giant freezer. You can see it's probably about 18 inches deep or so. So plenty of room to bring whatever frozen items you might need to bring. So stepping on over here, you have got your VIP guest cabin. And one of the cool things about the 440 is that when you select the 2-cabin, 2-head version, you end up with a king size berth here in the back, which they move that divider over and make your garage a little smaller and this much bigger. Now, obviously, we have all the cushions in here, so it makes it look very small at the moment with all of those in it. And it is not small. This is a huge bed. You have a nice big hanging locker right here in your VIP guest, as well as shelves for shoes and folded clothing. Additionally, but behind here, you have more space for whatever you like. There's another one in the back there. So another cool feature of the walk around that I always forget to point out is that you end up with a second hatch in the back, which allows for airflow because of the walk around decks. You get this additional little space where you can have another port light window in addition to this one, which creates, and this one, excellent airflow through the boat. And then from this VIP guest cabin, you have access to the VIP head, which has a separate toilet and shower system. You have storage, both, sorry, wrong way. You have a little storage unit right here. And behind there is your holding tank and some places to store shampoo and soaps and whatnot there. Underneath the entrance stairs, we have a 57 horsepower Jean-Marc diesel engine with excellent access from the sides. There's a huge panel that comes off on the side there, and as well on the other side from the guest cabins. And you have excellent access to the engine. And I think I've probably mentioned this in other videos, but this little guy down here has come in handy for me before when I have accidentally ran a boat out of diesel. Yes, it happens to everybody. That is a priming pump that allows you to prime the diesel without having to bleed all of your injectors and whatnot. So anyways, cool little feature on the engine. Couple of features around the chart table here. You have a great position, lots of storage, little cubby storage here and there, great access behind the panel. This particular boat has an inverter. You've got a Shriver panel, Fusion stereo, Ray Marine, I think it's a Ray 63, which allows you to have the remote up there, fans, as well as a remote control for your autopilot, which is what this guy is right here. You have got a place for pencils, dividers, anything you'd like to use right there. And a nice big compartment underneath the chart table, as well as a big giant space down there where you can, I usually hide some tools and bits and pieces that I find very handy to use. And then below the chart table itself, you've got this nice big space, which again, I use sometimes for tools, sometimes for other bits and pieces. A lot of people store their manuals and whatnot in that space. So anyways, we are going to keep walking forward on the boat here. There is this space over here that has a tremendous amount of storage and can optionally be turned into a, I believe it's a dishwasher if you so choose. And then down here, we have the place where my wife and I usually store all of our mixing bowls, as well as our china, so to speak, our plates and bowls in there. So moving forward into the galley area right here, we can talk about some of the storage. There's a ton of storage behind the this little piece of corian, which is behind the sink up against the port hull, and you can store a tremendous amount of stuff in there. This space right here is a storage space in this particular option, or you can put a microwave in this, and there is a feature where you can have a raised or rising microwave. So you push down on it and the microwave pops up out of this compartment. So I personally like this for storage. I don't have a lot of use for a microwave on board, but a lot of people do, and I'm not judging anybody. So here you have another storage space that is enormous and also optional. So you can have a deep freeze in here. There's a freezer insert that goes in. We have retrofit that into many boats. And forward of that, you have another little dry locker space. I shouldn't say little. Nobody wants a little storage space. This is actually quite a big storage space right there. You've got your stove, propane 2-burner stove, as well as an oven. And below that, plenty of storage for pots and pans, runs all the way across this space down here. And your fridge, which is a front door opening fridge, as well as a freezer. And I can tell you from experience that if you buy a 10-pound bag of ice and you pour yourself a couple of cocktails, that 10-pound bag of ice will fit right in there at about 9.5 pounds after you've had your first 2 cocktails. Right here, we have another unique and interesting piece of storage where you have 2 drawers as well as a space up top here for your cutlery. One of my favorite features is you've got a double sink. Double sink, I think, is just critical when you're out sailing. It's a nice place where you can put your dirty dishes in one side and you can wash and rinse and so on and so forth. So this one has a seawater pump, which is a great little feature, again, for somebody who's out expeditioning and wants to keep as much water on board as possible. Down below, we have plenty of room in here to store cleaning supplies as well as your trash. Moving over to the starboard side of the boat, you have your settee, and there is a tremendous amount of storage in and around this space. So you've got this little ottoman that kicks out and rolls back and forth. There was a time when I was nervous about how this thing was going to move around. I have been out on so many of these boats at sea, both going to weather, down waves, getting knocked around a little bit by some waves, and this thing doesn't move an inch. So when you're at sea, you move it in, and when you are in the harbor, it is a great space. There's a ton of storage. You can actually probably fit about 10 1-gallon water jugs in that, just in that space. So when you're at sea, you move it inboard, and when you're seated, you move it back outboard. So underneath these, there is an air conditioning unit under one and your hot water heater under another, but you still have plenty of storage in these spaces down here, as well as some bottle storage along here and some nice, deep, wide, big chunks of storage back behind the settee here, as well as over there. Love the light and the ability to have a number of people hanging around in this space. This table obviously expands. It's a beautiful wood table. It also goes down if you want to convert this into an additional berth. So if you have the 2-cabin version, you still have the ability to sleep 3 couples if you want to. We always joke that every boat is a 6-4-2. That's 6 for sailing, 4 for dinner, 2 for sleeping. So you've also got surround sound, Bose speakers, as well below. In one of these, there is a what do you call those things? The bass. Can somebody help me out with the terminology on that? You know what I'm talking about. A woofer. Fans. So there are, on this particular boat, I believe there are 6 5 fans, 2 in the owner's cabin, 2 in the saloon area, and 1 in your guest cabin back there. And then these nice wall sconces for individual light. If you just want to have everything else off and you want to be reading, you can really change the ambiance in this boat. You have lighting, strip lighting under here. You've got these overhead lights, and you've got floor lighting down the bottom in strategic places, which is very nice. As a matter of fact, most of the time at night, what I do is I just leave the floor lighting on, and it really lights up the entire boat. Moving forward here into the owner's cabin, first thing I want to show is the giant hanging locker here. So you have a nice lit hanging locker. It is probably about 3 feet, 3 feet long, quite big, quite deep. And then down here, you have additional shelf storage. And underneath the beds, you have these nice big drawers. On each side of the boat, again, you have fans, you have 110 outlets, 12-volt outlets, both USB and USB-C, and you have your wall sconces back there for reading in the evening. And you can come in and take a look at the owner's ensuite, which again has its separate shower and head with a tremendous amount of light. So you've actually got storage behind this guy right here, and storage down here for soaps and shampoos and whatnot in there. All of the boats that we order, if we can, if it is an option, we order with the freshwater electric flush heads. So makes dealing with your waste a piece of cake and really convenient. We find them very robust. So hey, thank you for taking the tour on the Jeanneau 2025 Jeanneau Sun Odyssey 440 with me. If you have any questions about this boat, give me a call. It's Anton Weber. My number is 804-776-9211.